A town dropped by the hand of history onto the fertile where the White Cart River flows on the last few miles of its journey to the Clyde and the sea. The river, no longer white, tells the story of the town, a story of centuries of labor, of tilling the earth, of weaving and spinning and the forging of iron. These are the works of Paisley, today the biggest cotton spinning center in the world. These are the works that have stained the clear waters of the once white cart with the sweat of human toil. Paisley's past rises like a prayer from the center of the town. 8 centuries of human worship wrapped in grey stone. The fine old abbey was built at the priory of Paisley, founded in 1163 by Walter Fitz-Allen and 13 Cluniac monks who came from Wenlock in Shropshire. Paisley honors and preserves this ancient shrine as part of the indestructible past. From the Gothic capitals of a great monument, the story turns to the small print of the people's lives. From the past that must be preserved and honored to the past that must be cleared away to make room for a better future. At the end of the Second World War, a large number of Paisley's 100,000 people lived in houses like these. They lived behind stone walls that had sheltered 2 centuries of life. Many of these old windows looked out on the birth of the steam age, saw the coming of railways and steel ships, and witnessed the spluttering of the first internal combustion engines. Paisley faced the mid-20th century with a population density of 45,000 people living on 504 acres in the center of the town. In this one small area, there were 154 persons to the acre. The atomic age found these people living, working, and rearing their families in the same surroundings as their forefathers at the dawn of the age of steam. 2 global wars had propelled them forward into a new way of thinking and strange new techniques of working, but at the end of the day, they turned their faces away from the miracles of modern science, and the road home was back through 200 years of history. At the end of the road, this. Beside her old black grate, a daughter of Paisley dreams of her yesterdays. But beyond the crumbling walls of her 18th century house, a new Paisley is growing up, a generation with its own budget of dreams. And not a mile away from the smouldering fire and the playing children, 3 men are bent over a drawing board. Tomorrow is knocking on the door of today, and yesterday must make room for it. On the wall plan, the pattern of this new experiment in 20th century living looks strangely like the prow of a ship. So begins one of the greatest examples of housing development this country has ever known. A visionary plan made possible by the goodwill of men and women who place the well-being of their town above all party politics. Now the new Paisley pattern is studied in detail by the town fathers, the provost and councillors of Paisley, who are rocking the cradle of a new era in the lives of their people. As they study the shape of things to come, they recognize that this is no ordinary project of housing X thousand souls at a cost of X million pounds. The proud old town that created the world-famous Paisley shawl is today weaving a sociological pattern of tremendous significance to the 20th century in Scotland. From theory to practice. With the demolition of these old houses in Canal Street and George Street, Paisley launched the first part of a 6-stage redevelopment plan estimated to cost £4,200,000 and to bring a new life to 7,355 men, women and children. Yet not all the things of yesterday have lost their value for today. In the midst of demolition and destruction, there are men salvaging stones and redressing them for a new life in a new building. Some of these stones came from the old Paisley jail. Tomorrow they will play their part in the kindlier office of setting free the prisoners of 18th century housing. The work of demolition goes on. Man and machine clear the rubble of the fallen houses. But what about the people they sheltered? What have the planners done with them while they wait for the new houses to rise from the dust of the old? Here they are, accommodated in perimeter housing schemes until their new houses are ready. The pattern takes shape. Walls are rising again like the phoenix from the ashes of the past. In the place of those old stone houses, with their small rooms, low ceilings and poor sanitation, there is growing, with amazing rapidity, a mixed development of 3- and 4-story blocks of 2, 3, and 4 apartment flats and maisonettes. The key turns in the lock, and the door opens on a new era. This building, with its salvaged stone facing, imaginative landscaping, paved courtyards and communal gardens, presents a picture of modern living at its most attractive. And as the children of the nuclear age romp and play on the grass, a cup of tea toasts the birth of a house that is warm to look at, warm to live in. And the lucky housewife never has to light a fire. Happiness and hygiene go together in the modern town. In all but one section of the new area, the home heating and hot water supplies are maintained by surplus heat from the public baths. And in laundrettes using the same source of heat, the weekly wash is mechanically dealt with. For 800 years, this old town of Paisley has been growing broad and growing fat, but never growing particularly high. Now, in her 9th century, she has suddenly decided to grow tall. These men are building Paisley's first multi-story flat, a 15-story monolith with walls of reinforced concrete cast on the site. This part of the new Paisley pattern is also, in its execution, a part of the modern building story. Not only do these men build higher than their forefathers, but they build more quickly. Prefabrication of parts has cut the time spent in construction and replaced old, laborious methods with new, streamlined techniques. In all building projects, foundations are important, and in a unit this height, they are doubly so. Before fixing the location of this skyscraper, the construction experts drilled 4 deep boreholes and found a satisfactory deposit of grey sandstone at a depth of from 7 to 14 feet. This made a solid bed for the independent rectangular foundations, designed to withstand a ground pressure of 3 tons per square foot. The walls are clothed with red facing bricks, with a banner of Locherbrigg sandstone between the ground floor and first floor. The building contains 56 3-apartment flats and stands at the narrow western end of the redevelopment site like an exclamation mark terminating one paragraph, while at the nearby site, demolition work begins another paragraph in the story of Paisley's redevelopment. From the top of the multi-story block, the picture of the future becomes clear. Canal Street is being promoted from a modest back street to become part of the inner ring road, separated from the development by a continuous boundary wall. The labourers and bricklayers, the carpenters and plumbers, the glaziers, the painters and plasterers have all made their contribution and moved on. A magnificent building is the sum of all this skill and knowledge. And now, on a special day at a certain time, the men who set all that skill and knowledge in motion gather to give its result official recognition. To these people, gathered at the site of Paisley's first multi-story building, this is more than just another opening ceremony. It is the unfolding of a new pattern of life, a dream that has taken on the physical form of stone and steel. As the provost cuts the tape, he severs the bond which has tied this place and its people to the social environment of 2 centuries ago. And now, Paisley's tallest building is ready and waiting, warmed with its underfloor heating, served by its self-operated lifts. The wish of every housewife come true. And here is the reward for all the planning and scheming, all the craftsman's skill and toil. In the warmth of their new home, father, mother, and bairns hold a carpet picnic, secure and comfortable. This is one part of Paisley's answer to a great problem of this century: how a community can cancel out the setbacks of 2 world wars and bring its housing program up to date in the shortest possible time. What better symbol of the new pattern of life Paisley is providing for her children than a boy in his bath at the end of a long day's roving. The planners have added the final touch to this bathroom by incorporating a mechanical extractor which keeps the air clear and clean. We are back at the Cross, birthplace of Paisley's 800 years of history, years through which men and women of this town have lived and died for the place of their birth. This is not the end of a story, but the beginning of a new chapter in a story that goes on. The story of new lives for all, new opportunity, new hope for the future. In terms of stone and mortar, what you have just seen was the first comprehensive redevelopment scheme ever to be launched under the Town and Country Planning Scotland Acts. It was also the first operation in that scheme and was carried through at a cost of £1,084,000. The demolishers and builders have now reached the 4th stage of a precision program whose completion is deadlined for 1962. A new page is being written in the history of this old town, with a pattern for making dreams come true, the dreams of men and women of goodwill in all ages who live to hand on the torch of a better life to those who come after them. And so we come back to the beginning, to a seat near the 800-year-old abbey, to a mother and her child sitting in the sun. These are the customers for whom this Paisley pattern has been woven, and they too have something to add to it. The planner may build the house, but only the mother, the architect of family life, can make that house a home.